and then he finds an object at some point in the second book that makes him kind of like a superhero. I don't know if it's the right word. He gains powers.
Mm-hmm.
He's an assassin, basically. Yeah.
It's a computer game like.
Very bad summaries, I'm not going to lie.
Uh-huh.
He was trained as an assassin, and eventually he became like a vigilante, like anti-hero. So
A computer game like storyline. Mm-hmm.
yeah, kind of. Not really, but like I'm terrible at summaries.
What did you learn from the book? What did you is there a philosophy of life or a new inspiration that you picked up from Dark Angels?
Well, it's a book about assassins, so I'm kind of hoping I'm not picking up a new philosophy based on that.
Right. Okay. What not to do, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you had an old computer programming project you've brought out of the closet. What was that on?
Well, it was last year in one of my current classes. We did a project, and in one of the projects, I created something that you would use to create a schedule for a school based on all the students. And annoying me, we got to the deadline on the project, and so when I submitted, there were some things that are unrealistic that if you were actually gonna do it, you couldn't actually do. Like the way I did it, I created random students when I created a schedule, and I just thought that was unrealistic, and I wanted to actually finish it so it'd be realistic that you'd enter a real student and all those things. I just finished it, feel like I finished it, and I was supposed to do it over the summer, and I just never did it. So,
can you tell us front end, back end code that you use?
Partially. Some of the stuff on it is like 2 years old. I honestly don't remember how it works. But the other stuff is you're supposed to input all the information on the students. The main code of how it organizes like into the classes, I honestly don't remember how it works.
How about the programming language, the front end? Did you program in HTML or SQL?
I programmed it in Java.
In Java. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. Great.
It's not like the system an actual school would use, but it's something I just wanted to finish because I didn't want to leave it unfinished.
Sure.
And I had nothing better to do with my time, so.
Okay. Great. Well, just so you know, I'm recording this, guys. I hope that's okay. And unless anyone has any objections, we like to archive our webcasts in case anyone misses them for a while. Okay. Well, let's just start by tossing the ball around the horn and introduce ourselves, and think about or share with us, if you can, your favorite things to do, least favorite things to do, heroes. And maybe I'll start. I'm electrical engineer out of Cornell, and my passions are building. I like to build almost anything. And I love to play the guitar and love to. I'm an artist in my dreams. I dream of being an artist when I grow up.
There's still time.
All right, always time, as long as you're vertical. Brent, can you share your interests, passions, background?
Sure. So my background is primarily like in multimedia, a lot of like small business kind of web applications, like 3D animations. In general, that kind of aligns with my hobbies. I like to create things digitally. So like, I mean, it's really hard to really like pinpoint a specific hobby there. like making scratch games, making 3D models, animating stuff, making like logos move, building like interactive web apps. Like I don't use any like the newer frameworks. So I mean, I usually will use like CSS3 and just like JavaScript. So it's not like I just click and make it happen, but I like searching for code modules and then like implementing them from different like places online. And yeah, I mean, I guess I like my computer more than the sun. Might be a good way to summarize it.
That's a great summary. Okay, cool. Who's your hero, Brent?
No, that evolves as I get older. I used to say Akira Toriyama because he had an anime show, Dragon Ball Z, got me into drawing, got me into art. But you know, the older I get, the more I realize someone who entertains you might not be so much a hero as necessarily just an entertainer. Um, so actually, what he's been saying recently worries me. But Elon Musk, I kind of like his vision of like how he just wants to create things to solve the world's problems. And I'd say another hero might be Jacques Fresco. He had a project called the Venus Project. He passed away maybe like a couple years ago, but it was an interesting take on redesigning the world's governments and like basically how things could run with technology, allowing humans to use their brain to think versus just do like minuscule jobs. But I think it had some flaws in it, but it was still a really cool philosophy. So I would say like one of those two guys are in the running.
Okay. My hero, one of my heroes is Cervantes, Don Quixote. I like Don Quixote. It's a fictional character, but he's a dreamer, and he always dreams about sort of turning a bad event or bad luck into something really spectacular. So Don Quixote is one of my heroes. How about you, Andy?
Well, I mostly work on programming and building with my robot. Program in Java, and I've also programmed before in Python. And I also do some CAD work with softwares, with like concepts of building the robots and some custom parts.
Cool, cool. What's your least favorite thing to do?
My least favorite thing is probably reading, because I'm a pretty slow reader and I don't really like reading that much.
Okay.
There's still time.
I've said that before to people who ask me why I like to read, and then they pointed out like science blog and technology blog still count as reading. So
Yeah,
if you read anything online, even if it's articles, that counts, is what I've been told.
That's the spirit.
Yeah, I'm a really slow reader too, Andy. I sympathize with you. And I think I got into that bad habit in engineering school because you have to read every sentence word by word by word to get through calculus and chemistry and yada, yada, yada. And it makes you a terrible reader. So that's I think an engineer's problem. Okay, Thomas, may I know, did you had to decide what school you were going to choose?
I chose to go to Case Western. Just yeah.
Great. Okay, cool. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And your heroes or do you have a hero, Thomas?
Not really. I feel like I get asked this question like every single first day of school for the last 5 years. And I always
Really? Oh, okay.
I usually just change it based on the situation I'm in, just because it's easier just to say hero in those classes than to just say I don't know. Makes you feel really awkward, but
yeah, right. Okay.
I don't really know.
Yeah. Get it. Okay, let me share my screen. We're going to do kind of a big picture overview in this first session just to try to set expectations. First of all, I just want to give you a brief introduction to some of our developers who will likely be leading workshops over the next, over the coming months. Brent, of course, and Yolan's studying computer science and fine art at Cornell. Michael Liu is doing computer science at MIT. Jen is in the architect school at Harvard and studying also artificial intelligence and computer science. He's very interested in smart cities. And Wen is our art director. Vincent, new member of our team from Cornell, who's in the architecture fine art school. Alexia, Hugo is, we're actually trying to recruit Hugo. He's an MBA at the MIT Sloan School. And Alexia did her mechanical engineering degree at MIT. So,
yeah, John, I think we need to do an updated picture because I don't even have that hat anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, send me one.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, look at that. Oh, cool. I see it. All right. Keep that hat. I like it. It's
stops the aliens, you know. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
Great. Okay.
Why'd you waste tinfoil? For a joke.
Keep it light. That's an important build of yourself spirit. We're trying to learn some serious programming, but we want to make sure that we're having fun in the process. Part of our formula for passion.
I think you burn out if you don't have fun while you're doing stuff that stresses your brain.
Amen.
Because too much stress just burns you out faster. Gotta smile.
It's important to love what you're doing. Okay, so big picture on the our advanced builder program. From a business point of view, we serve about 500 kids a year, 500 kids between the ages of 8 to 13. When you get to be 13, as Andy, you know, your brother went through this, we invite certain of our members who we think are on an aggressive engineering or art track. We invite them to join our intern program. So there are about 10 of some 500 members that we have each year. We'll invite maybe 10 to be in our advanced builder program. So it's a group of high school students who have a real strong interest in either art or technology. We have 3 goals for our advanced builder program. One is to help you develop a portfolio of work that could get you into school of your choice. Let me just back up a second. Andy, what are you, a sophomore in high school?
I'm currently a freshman.
Freshman, rising sophomore. Okay, great. And I know, Thomas, you're graduating this year.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the next 2 points, Thomas, will be of interest to you. And that is when our advanced builders get into college, we want to hire them to be on a development team or on a or help us teach our workshops. So it basically can be a college job for you, an internship which many colleges are placing a high value now on having good internships during your college experience. Okay, still staying at a 30,000 foot level. Our strategy to help you reach those 3 goals, we want to put you on a series of projects that will exercise both the engineering process, the problem-solving process, and the creative thinking process. So we do a lot of art because we think, I mean, art in the broad sense of the term, not just drawing, because we think art is an important, well, it's sort of the creative spirit. And then in the problem-solving process, we have really two areas: mechanical engineering and computer science, that we focus on. Not so much the other science or engineering fields, biology, chemistry. We don't do much of that. Mostly mechanical and computer. Any questions so far?
No.
No.
Okay, great. For today, I want to give you a little history of past advanced builders, and want to start a journal or a lab book where you can document tricks that you learn along the way. It may be that we will call on you to teach others who are either missed a previous class or teach in general, and hopefully you can use your lab book to help guide you through bringing others up to speed or teaching a particular trick. And then want you to, today and for next week, think about defining and documenting a dream, basically. Something you want to do, but that you think is going to be really difficult. And then try to define how you could solve that problem or reach some quantifiable level of success. Okay, so again, we're going to just spend this first session setting your expectations for the big picture. Okay, so having said that, this is Brent's favorite expression I learned from you, Brent. Having said that, let me go into our advanced builder program. And I can tell you that roughly 30% of our interns are either at Stanford, MIT, or Ivy League schools. We will like you to, Thomas, you're in a little different position here because you're almost in college. So this for you is really, in a few months, we might like to call on you to help us teach new interns. So this is kind of a training program for you rather than real internship program. But we like you to put a short bio. This is Andy's brother. And on our intern page. And some of the projects that our interns have worked on include, well, the very first project we're going to do is a personal website. Many colleges now, many companies now really prefer to look at your LinkedIn site, or even better, your personal website, than a resume. A resume is too easy to fudge. It's too easy to put it. A resume can be superficial, but a website starts to get into the soul of who you are, or can get into the soul of who you are. So I know more and more colleges now are looking for either a video clip or a website as part of your college application. And we want you to have a knock your socks off website that is very, very thoughtfully planned out and coded with some of the more advanced web development tools. And that's where Brent is gonna, Brent and others on the team, but particularly Brent, who's master web designer, can help you out. So our first project is gonna be setting up our lab book, journal, or sketchbook, and in that sketchbook we're gonna document our plans for developing your own personal website. Let me stop there. Have you developed a website, your own website, Thomas?
No.
Any interest in doing so?
Sure.
Okay. Andy, I'm sure you've done websites for your first projects over the years. Ever do a personal website?
No, I have not.
Any interest in doing that, or?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I've found that it's a really fun exercise, or can be, and it also forces you to think about who you are and who you want to be. And I think that's an important process in life, to step back periodically and sort of measure where you are and where you want to be. And I think a website can force you into that thought process. Interns over the years have done music projects, and I mean, really interesting advanced music projects. Any musicians here? I hear your sister Thomas is learning the ukulele.
Yeah, I didn't get the musical gene. I used to do viola, but I stopped doing viola. I wasn't very good at it.
They say math and music go together. If you're good at math, you're likely to be good at music, and vice versa. And then after we finish the website, that might take a couple of months, because we're gonna not only focus on coding, but we're gonna focus just as much on the planning of that website, the engineering process that Billy yourself goes through to develop any project. We're gonna follow that same engineering process in developing your website. I'd be interested, Andy, to know if this engineering process we follow is similar to the project management process you follow in your first projects. The second project we're going to do is a multimedia piece that advertises a build-it-yourself product. And we want you to go through that process, because at Build It Yourself, we preach it's really important to have good ideas. We preach that it's really important, really important to execute your ideas. And it's really important to be able to present your ideas. If you have a great idea and you don't present it well, it may not get the attention it deserves. So we'll spend almost half of our time focusing on the art of presenting your ideas. It's just as important, or maybe even more important, than having an idea. That's a controversial concept, because some people will say that the idea is all that counts, right? Or the working product is all that counts. If it's good, it will rise to the top. Others will say that that logic doesn't really apply in the real world. Any thoughts on that, on the importance of presenting your ideas at first. Andy, I know they are spending quite a bit of attention on this, no?
Yeah, we have a whole section of the competition which is just like judges, and you have to present your robot to the judges. So if you don't present it well, then they're not gonna like be engaged, and you might have like the best robot, but if you don't present it well, then you might not win an award or something.
Great, great, okay. And you subscribe to that philosophy, no matter how good your robot is, if you can't explain it, it's not as valuable. Do you think there's something to that logic, or do you think the
Yeah,
robot should
kind of.
stand on its own?
I mean, there are some things where it doesn't matter how you present your robot, because if it performs like when it's running, then
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter, but it does matter in certain sections.
yeah, yeah, okay. I can tell you, if you ever start your own company, if you can't present your ideas to your customers or your investors in 30 seconds, you're going to be in trouble. Well, likely you're going to be in trouble. I suppose you're right. If your robot really performs, that could speak for itself. I don't want to rule that possibility out. Brent, your thoughts on this?
My thought is that life isn't so black and white. I think situations will make things vary. It depends how you approach it. I think in general, the BIY philosophy is a sound philosophy that doesn't like really break when you test it. You know, development time, design time, discovery, deployment, like different stages of planning and building, testing. I think presentation skills are critical too. But I think in life, there's people with diverse interests and visions. So if you have a robot that performs something extremely well, but you don't know how to present it, it's a lot like Apple and the mouse, how they got it from Hewlett Packard. Hewlett Packard made the mouse. They didn't really know what to do with it. Steve Jobs got it. He's a marketer. So he can present. Hewlett Packard made the product, but they didn't necessarily know what they were making it for. They just kind of built it. So I think there's a lot of instances where, like, if you have a great product, someone will totally take it and sell it. But if you can't present it, you're really hoping for luck and probability of being found. So it's probably less times than not you're not going to get any traction anywhere.
Very interesting example.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're able to present, at least to some degree, you'll be able to find someone who can market what you do or partner with a company. I think if you're really good at presenting, you can build and sell it. But I think each component has that in it. Like, if you can't present to a partner, you're not going to get someone to take it unless they have a vision ahead of you. When they see it, they go, aha, I know what this can be sold for. And then they take it and run.
Mm-hmm.
I think Play-Doh's another example. It used to be made to clean walls, but then they remarketed it as a kid's toy. So I think that was actually, they had a vision and it was useful, but then, you know, they found another way to sell it. But yeah, if you can't explain to somebody, you're not going to wind up in the conversations where, you know, your products get seen if they don't already have a market. I don't know if that's a good answer, but
yeah, interesting food for thought, Brent. Thank you. Thomas, what's your take on this? Question? Should the product stand on its own, or does the product need a hyper push?
As long as you can explain it to one person who can explain it better than you can, kind of like what Brent said, that like Steve Jobs was able to market the mouse. If you're able to show one person what the purpose of the product is and how it works, then you can get it rolling. But if nobody can understand the purpose of the product, what's the point of having the product?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
There's a good point.
A better summary of what I say would be, if you can't market it or present it, find someone who can.
Yeah.
If you can at least present to them on a small scale, you still need that component for it to get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
One could argue that the answer to this question lies in your own personal satisfaction. I don't want to get too philosophical here, but it's making me think, if your personal satisfaction is to get something to work and you don't care if it really benefits society or if other people use it or not, if you get turned on by just getting something to work, that's your measure of success, then kudos to you, and follow your heart. However, many people will measure success by virtue of how many people your ideas impact. And if that's the case, then I think presenting your ideas will play a more important role. And if, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too philosophical here, but it's an interesting discussion.
Yeah. I'd go with all the components are important, but who does them and how you structure your team, your product, or your life.
Yeah.
Like your goals doesn't matter. It depends. That's a personal path. If your product isn't being marketed or presented, it's not going to get sold. If you don't have a good product, no one's going to buy it because it's going to feel when people get it, bad reviews. And if you don't have some sort of delegator, like a business mindset at the top of that, orchestrating, you know, quality, customer service, the product itself, distribution, manufacturing, the marketing, I think it will fail.
Right.
But ultimately, that could be a one-man band if it's a simple one-product company and it's something that was important to you. You built it for your own solution and you realize others need it. But if it's something larger like a computer, you know, it's really hard to make those like on your own in a large scale, manufacture them and get deals. So I think it's just segregating those roles either, you know, to one human or multiple humans.
We got it.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Delegating responsibility is what Brent's basically saying. So moving on, after we get the first really 3 projects completed, your PowerPoint lab book, your website, and a interactive multimedia ad, then you will know the tools, you will know many of the tools you'll need, and the engineering process and the creative thinking that you'll need to join a development team. By the way, we use PowerPoint very, very aggressively at Build It Yourself. Whenever we design a product, the first thing we do is lay out the user interface. We do our planning in PowerPoint lab book, our research, and we lay out the user interface in PowerPoint before we do a line of code or a minute of building. So PowerPoint is a fundamental tool. And next is all the web design tools. And then thirdly, in marketing materials, how do you present your ideas clearly, concisely, and convincingly? After that, we like to invite you to join one of our development teams. I'll explain all of the development teams we have going right now. One of them is the Build It Blocks team. That's our construction team, and Andy's brother made really, really valuable contributions to this project. It's an Arduino-based Arduino controller with a library of structural, motion, and sensor modules, all made from common materials. We have another development group that's working on Invention Universe. Invention Universe is our most advanced coding project. And it's a computer game-like social media site where you can post your portfolio of projects. So every member at Build It Yourself owns a planet. And on that planet, you can make that planet look and feel however you like. It's almost like a computer game. And then you can upload your projects to your planet, and invite people to explore your planet. And then we have an ongoing effort to develop new projects, courseware we call it. We have developers who in the past have been working on how do we measure your problem solving skills? And we approach that by building a computer game that tests how well you know how to exercise the 5 problem solving skills that we teach. That's a very, very interesting project. It's also a very, very complicated project. How do you build a computer game that tests your problem solving skills in a quantitative way? There are a lot of people that spend their whole careers trying to figure out how do you measure creative skills and how do you measure problem solving skills. We have a team or a group of people that are working on the graphic design behind Build It Yourself, how our website looks, how our products are packaged, our marketing materials. And then we have individual projects like games and timers and joke pages that are sort of mini projects that fit under the umbrella of these main initiatives. Actually, we have another project in here which is not listed, and that's infrastructure, the foundation that makes all of our products play well together. And JavaScript, we've done some Python, we've done Rails project. So those are all intern projects. I can also tell you that let me go to this page here. Our interns, we often invite our interns to present Build It Yourself at international conferences. Andy, can you share a little bit about what your brother did? Did you go with your brother to Austria?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you remember what it was like? What did your brother say about that trip?
I remember that he went with a couple other team people and presented their Build It blocks to people in Austria.
All over the world who are meeting in Austria at an education conference. Yeah. So we've had intern teams that have presented Build It Yourself in Mexico, in Paris, and all over the US. So that's an important activity or task as an intern. Be in a position to present your work at Build It Yourself in high profile conferences. Okay, so that's a little bit of overview of the Build It Yourself program, of the Build It Yourself Advanced Builder Intern program. Any questions so far? Any thoughts, suggestions about how we could, what we could add to the intern program that would make you happy? What would you like to do that you don't see here? Andy, any thoughts about what skills you really want to learn that you don't
I think
see
I'd like
here?
to learn more about like how to present ideas better. Like even just any idea, just how to present it to people that don't really know or understand it yet.
Yeah, great. A really, really valuable skill in my experience. If you can teach something, number one, it forces you to really know that subject. And secondly, it's a critical part of teamwork, being able to bring other people on your team up to speed. And you got to do that clearly, concisely, and convincingly. Okay, Thomas, are there skills you really want to develop that you either see here or you don't see here that we should add to this program?
I mean, for any project, I feel like the most important thing is for everyone to be on the same page and for everyone to be able to work together effectively. And
yeah, teamwork skills, very, very important. Yeah. We don't mention that. I haven't mentioned that here, but I can tell you that it's a really, really important skill that we try to encourage. Great. We will spend considerable time focusing on attributes of good teamwork and how you learn teamwork. Okay. Where to go here? Let's take a pass the ball off to you guys. First thing we want to do, let me go back to here. I'd like you to start a lab book. We're going to show you a couple examples and think about a personal challenge, either a skill you want to learn or a problem that you're going to face, like getting into a school where you can really learn what you want to learn, or getting a job that will, make you happy. Define that 3, 4, 5-year goal or challenge or problem, and then define what your mission is to solve that problem. So let me start with a lab book. So we want you to, let me talk a little bit about the importance of lab books. Or Brent, why don't you take the lead here? What's your take on why a lab book is really important?
I think a lab book is important because for several reasons. One, whenever, just as a developer for websites and stuff, like I've never bought a plugin or anything that doesn't have good documentation with it that explains how to use it or how the code works. So I think whenever you build anything, having documentation of how something works is critical. I know that you can't get a patent without good documentation because there's different types of patents. So you can have something that does the same thing as another product, but if you do it in a different way, you can release it and own the rights to that design, the way it works. So if you can't describe how it works or document it, you can't own the idea.
Great.
I think another key aspect, going back to documentation, is you usually don't do anything that great unless you work with other people. I mean, there are instances where, something great starts, but then usually it gets sold off to a team anyways, who, has more money, buys it and develops it. Look at Minecraft, right? Started with a small indie team. Microsoft owns it and they're still developing it. So I think teamwork is a part of the lab book philosophy. If you don't have good documentation, there's no chance of you working with others. And I think it's also a place where you can just keep your ideas of what you plan on doing, how you're going to do it, what you developed, not just documentation side, but if you make graphics and stuff like that, you can keep them in there.
Great.
And that's kind of my big picture of it.
Four key points here. Teamwork. Lab book is important for documenting your ideas for a patent application, and documentation is important in order to help you really understand what you're doing. Putting it down in your lab book reinforces the learning process. And I guess there was one other point, but lab book's really critical. Leonardo da Vinci is a great example of that. I mean, his lab books now are celebrated as really forward thinking. So we want you to present, to develop a lab book that you can use in a job application or a college application. I can tell you that having a working product is great and important. Having a great test score is great and important. But if you can't explain how you got to an answer or got a finished product, you won't, your skills won't be valued as highly. So I think in an interview, I'm more interested in how someone thinks than the actual result. Even if the result fails, but they can explain their thought process, that's what I really want to know. So that's where a lab book can come into play. And so we will value your lab book as highly as we will value your work.
Okay. John, just I have to leave.
Right. Great. You mentioned that before. Okay, so I'll send you guys an email documenting the next steps. But it's basically going to be create a lab book and then define your personal goals. Okay, and let's adjourn now, and I'll send an email around the horn. Okay, Andy, Thomas, to be continued next week.
All right, bye.
Great.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a good day.
Thanks. You too. Okay, we're going to try to formularize this a little bit more, Brent, the introduction to the intern program, so we can replicate it. Right now, yeah, like we're doing for our regular members, we're going to do a similar thing for the intern program.
Right. I mean, at least the boot camp, and then after that, it can be more free flowing based on projects.
Right. Okay.
Oh, and don't forget to recording.
Oh, right. Thank you.
In case you need to sign it off, we'll have a bunch of extra junk on the end.
Yeah, right. Thank you for